In the cold silence beyond the mapped systems, in a region where beacons flicker and comm relays fail without reason, something moved. No identification codes, no warp trail, just the faint shimmer of displacement, like the stars themselves were shifting out of place. Captain Lauren Vex of the Kestrel, a mid-tier freight runner out of the Pharaoh's Belt, had seen plenty of strange things in the border zones. Drifting wrecks, pirate ambushes, even a few unlicensed Xeno experiments that made his skin crawl. But nothing like this. The Kestrel had been dead in space for nearly 6 hours. A pirate warband had hit them just past asteroid field LX-14. 3 ships, fast, armed, and ruthless. They hadn't even opened negotiations. No threats. No ransom. Just weapons hot from the first second. Vex and his crew fought back, with the kind of desperation that comes when you know you won't win. They managed to take out one of the pirate frigates, but their reactor blew a containment valve in the process. Now the Kestrel drifted, powerless, with atmosphere leaks in 3 sections and life support failing. They had maybe an hour left. Less if the pirates circled back. That's when the shadows shifted. Vex first noticed it on the long-range scanner. Something massive approaching at impossible speed, yet registering no drive signature. The crew scrambled to their stations, too exhausted to panic, too afraid to hope. Then it appeared. Not emerged, not warped in, just was. A shape of matte black and starlight, vast and silent, hovering just beyond the broken hull of the Kestrel. No markings, no flags, no signal. Just a slow, deliberate drift toward the pirate wreckage nearby. Then, light. Thin beams of blue energy lanced across the dark. The remaining pirate ships lit up like flares, their shields crumbling in seconds. They tried to flee. They never made it to full thrust. Their ships cracked, folded, and froze, floating in eerie silence. No sound, no debris. Just clean, surgical destruction. And then the dark ship turned, not toward the Kestrel, but away. Not a word spoken, not a demand made. It simply vanished, as if space had swallowed it whole. Vex stood there, helmet under one arm, staring at the now empty starfield. What the hell was that? He asked. No one answered. But later, at a dive bar on Europa's outer docks, a drunk cargo hauler swore she'd seen the same thing, out past Kepler Drift. Then a deep space miner from Cygnus chimed in, claimed a ship matching that description saved his crew from a Xeno raider fleet, took them apart in seconds, then disappeared. They called it the Revenant. And across every fringe outpost, every smuggler's den, and every pirate channel, the legend began to grow, of a human warship that shouldn't exist. A ghost with guns, a guardian without orders. And most of all, a warning. Humanity may have signed the peace, but it never gave up its sharpest blade. Captain Alex Rourke had been declared dead with full honors. Her name was etched into the black stone of Earth's memorial wall, alongside other heroes who gave their lives during the last great border war. She died during the siege of Vesper Reach. At least, that's what the official report said. A plasma breach. No body recovered. End of story. Except the story didn't end. Beneath the memorials and the speeches, in a facility buried a kilometer beneath Mars' northern pole, Rourke opened her eyes for the first time in 8 months. Skin grafted, lungs rebuilt, mind sharp and angry. The war was over. Earth had signed the Galactic Peace Accord. The fleet was being dismantled. Humanity's hard-earned place as a rising power was being traded away for peace on paper. They offered her a choice. Disappear, for real this time, or take command of the Revenant, a ship that officially did not exist, built in the shadows before the treaty, forged from every lesson learned in 1,000 years of human warfare. No crew, no allies, no legal status, just her. Helix said yes before they finished the briefing. Now, 5 years later, she sat alone in the command cradle of the most advanced vessel ever created by human hands. The pilot interface wrapped around her spine like a second nervous system. The AI, codename Argus, responded to her thoughts faster than any command could be spoken. The ship's hull adapted in real time, cloaking against sensors, folding light, bending space like silk. From orbit, she watched an alien freighter limp away from a failed pirate ambush. No one saw her arrive. No one ever did. Target ships disabled. No fatalities. Mission complete. Argus reported, voice calm, almost warm. Alex nodded, still watching the drifting wrecks. Broadcast the standard message, then wiped the area. A blue pulse radiated from the Revenant, a clean burst of encoded static. It carried no threats, no signature, just coordinates for the wrecks, a list of surviving pirates to be recovered, and a simple line at the end. Do not prey on the helpless. You will be watched. No one knew who was sending the messages. Some thought it was Earth's secret military. Others believed it was a rogue AI. The most paranoid claimed it was an ancient weapon that woke up on its own. Only a handful of people in the Terran Council knew the truth. And even they were starting to wonder, had work gone too far? Or was she the only thing standing between the galaxy and something worse? On the dark side of a forgotten moon, the Revenant drifted in silence. No flag, no law, no borders, just one woman, in a warship born to fight a war that never officially happened. And out there, in the shadows beyond the stars, something else was stirring. Something no one was ready for. But Rourke would be. She always was. Inside the polished marble chambers of the Terran Council, panic came dressed in protocol. Ambassadors from 6 member systems sat in a secure session beneath the Earth spire, off the record, off the grid, and off the books. The room was soundproof, sealed by layers of AI-controlled silence. Even satellites were denied visual access to this meeting. And yet, every official present could feel the weight of unseen eyes pressing down on them. We have a problem. Councillor Sato began, sliding a holopad across the table. It displayed footage, grainy, barely visible, of 3 pirate vessels being shredded in open space. No energy buildup, no warning, no trace of the attacker. Only the wreckage remained. Again. The delegate from Europa leaned forward. That's the 4th incident this month. Same pattern. Same sector. No known vessel could move that fast, cloak that cleanly, or disable ships without collateral damage. Unless it's ours, Sato said flatly. A cold silence followed. Councillor Elena Veris, Earth's representative and head of defense oversight, frowned. There's no confirmation that the ship is Terran. Sato raised an eyebrow. Then explain why the alien factions are now accusing us of breaking the accord. Explain why a dozen border empires suddenly want inspections of our hidden shipyards. Explain why they're afraid of us again. Another delegate, from the Luna colonies, finally said what none of them wanted to voice. Is it Rourke? Elena hesitated, just for a second. It was enough. I thought she was presumed KIA. Someone muttered. She was, Elena said, until certain elements within Fleet Command decided a backup plan was necessary. The Revenant was built before the treaty was finalized. Technically, it never violated the terms. Technically, Sato snapped. We built a ghost ship, gave it to a woman famous for not following orders, and told her to protect humanity, with no oversight and no leash. She's not a threat. Elena replied. She's a safeguard. You've seen the numbers. Pirate raids in the Outer Rim have dropped 80%. Civilian losses are down. Smuggling cartels are running scared. Whatever she's doing, it's working. Sato folded his arms. Until it doesn't. And when that happens, we're going to be the ones held responsible. Across the table, a small red icon lit up on the holopad. A live news feed. Someone tapped it out of habit. A hologram filled the space above the table, a breaking broadcast from the Virex system. A Dreadnought-class alien slaver ship had been destroyed while attempting to intercept a refugee convoy. The only evidence left behind was a short-range signal pulse, repeating the same message in every major language. "You are not above justice." The room went silent again. Finally, Elena spoke, softly, but with steel behind every word. "She's not following our orders. But maybe, just maybe, she's following something better." Somewhere, far beyond Earth's sky, the Revenant blinked out of view once more, and in the silence it left behind, the galaxy grew a little more uneasy. The distress call came from the Droz 9 outpost, an old Terran relay station deep in abandoned space, long since stripped of crew and tech. Officially, it was decommissioned. Unofficially, it was a baited hook. Captain Alex Wark stood motionless in the Revenant's command cradle as the alert came through. The signal was faint, garbled, the kind of thing only a Terran ship would bother to notice. Argus, the ship's onboard AI, filtered the distortion. Faint human SOS. Signal code matches pre-accord emergency beacon. "Possible survivors," Argus said. Rourke narrowed her eyes. "Nobody uses those codes anymore. That's ancient protocol." "Correct. Which raises the probability of a trap to 91.7%. She nodded. "Good. Set course." The Revenant didn't fly. It flowed. Space folded in front of it and reassembled behind, each jump seamless, undetectable. In less than a blink, the warship arrived at Droz 9, dropping from its stealth phase in total silence. The outpost was dark, cold. Not even reactor warmth remained, but 5 alien warships waited in a loose cordon formation, too casual to look hostile, but far too focused to be anything else. A message pinged across open channels. "Unregistered vessel. Power down your systems. You are operating outside legal jurisdiction." Rourke smirked. "Argus. They are a combined task force. Valari interceptors, a Cathal boarding frigate, and a Syndic dreadcruiser. Multiple weapons platforms locked. Shall we respond?" "Oh, absolutely." She pressed her hands against the cradle, mind linking fully with the ship. In an instant, the Revenant became a part of her, and she of it. The targeting matrix spun, and the ship's hull began to shimmer, changing shape and signature. The enemy opened fire first. Too slow. Before the first plasma bolt crossed the void, the Revenant was gone, reappearing behind the formation. Its weapons didn't blast. They dissected. EMP bursts fried systems, rail spikes sheared engines from hulls, and gravitic tethers snapped weapon mounts like twigs. The entire engagement lasted 43 seconds. No one died. Every ship was left adrift, engines offline, weapons ruined, power cells drained to emergency minimums. Even life support remained untouched. Rourke's message was always deliberate. On the side of the Syndic dreadcruiser, her final move appeared. A low-powered burn across the hull using a pulse laser, carving words into the metal in 4 languages. "You cannot cage what protects the wild. Stand down." She didn't wait for a reply. The Revenant vanished into blackness once again, leaving only wreckage, questions, and growing fear in her wake. Back aboard the Council's surveillance network, someone whispered what others were afraid to say out loud. She didn't just win that fight. She made a point. And far out in the dark, Rourke was already plotting her next move, because something worse than pirate fleets was coming. And unlike them, it didn't fear warnings. There were some things even the Revenant couldn't do alone. Alex Rourke had traced a disturbing pattern. Ghost shipments vanishing from secure ports, stations wiped clean without a single body left behind, and labs erased so thoroughly they seemed to never have existed. Something was moving beneath the surface of the galaxy. Something coordinated. Something human. But when she cracked a hidden databank pulled from the Droz 9 ambush ships, she found what she wasn't supposed to see: biological weapons engineered to target human DNA. Precision-designed, nanite-guided, cloaked under the guise of xenopest control. And the blueprints bore the signature of someone she knew. Dr. Lena Marrow. Exiled. Brilliant. Dangerous. and one of the last people who'd seen Alex alive before her death was faked. Rourke knew she needed help. Not from governments, not from fleets, from ghosts. First, she went to the Martian deadnet, a fractured, illegal comm space buried in old colony infrastructure. There, she found Hollis Red Kale, a hacker-turned-revolutionary with a price on his head and an ego twice as big. He once rewired an entire battlecruiser from the inside, using nothing but a stolen AI core and a coil of scrap wiring. He owed Rourke his life, and she never forgets a debt. Next, she retrieved a dormant AI core buried in Europa's ice shelf. Codename Null, a sentient combat system so advanced it was ordered destroyed after the last war. Rourke had sealed it there herself, after it chose mercy over orders. It took convincing, but Null came online with a single line. Still saving people from themselves. Rourke. Last was Lena. She found her in the shattered remains of a drifting medical barge outside the Darenth expanse, surrounded by stolen research and a plasma rifle aimed at her own doorway. "You were supposed to be dead," Lena said, lowering the rifle slowly. "So were you," Alex replied. "We're not good at staying buried." Together, they'd followed the trail. Secret convoys carrying genetic payloads, black sites on uncharted moons, and silent benefactors operating behind multiple alien empires. Someone was preparing a quiet war, one that didn't use guns, just engineered silence. A war to eliminate humanity before it could rise again. With every raid, the Revenant struck with surgical fury. Data was stolen. Labs were erased. Victims were rescued. No headlines. No glory. But word spread in whispers. Something was hunting the hunters. In pirate fleets and corporate bunkers, the same question kept surfacing. How is one person doing all this? The answer came in a smuggled message found scrawled on the side of a dismantled research cruiser, left intact as a warning. One person can't. But a few ghosts, that's enough. And out there, in the dark, Alex Rourke smiled. She had allies again. She had purpose again. And for the first time in years, she wasn't alone. The lab on Moon Theta 47 was buried so deep under the crust that it didn't show up on standard planetary scans. It was off the charts, off the books, and protected by every automated defense system human science could build. And yet, it wasn't enough. The Revenant slipped in undetected. Rourke and her team breached the facility in silence. Null disabled the defense grid in under 7 seconds. Red looped the security feed so cleanly that the systems never even blinked. Lena, dressed in stolen bioshield armor, led them through airtight corridors that reeked of sterilized secrecy. What they found was worse than anyone had expected. Rows of incubation pods lined the walls, each one holding a living human. Not sedated, not dead, frozen. Conscious minds trapped in stasis while their biology was studied, stripped, and rewritten. Test subjects, Lena whispered, rage in her voice. They were experimenting on Terran refugees. Rourke stared at the data read out on a nearby console. She had seen horrors during the war, orbital bombardments, chemical weapons, and the inside of a collapsing battleship. But this was different. They weren't trying to kill us, she said softly. They were trying to overwrite us. Red looked up from a decrypted log. It's a personality erasure sequence. Neural rewrite nanites. They'd wake up, but they wouldn't be who they were. Just empty vessels, reprogrammed to serve. Lena clenched her jaw. The weapon isn't for aliens. It's for us. Someone's planning to make sure the next generation of humans remembers nothing of what we were. No rebellion. No fire. Just quiet obedience. That's when the alarms finally went off. Not from the lab's systems, but from the Revenant. Unregistered fleet entering high orbit, Argus reported. Multiple Terran signatures. Not alien. Outside, ships began to emerge. Sleek, black-hulled, unmarked. Human designs, but not from any known fleet. They surrounded the moon like vultures circling a wounded beast. They'd been watching, Rourke said. letting us do the dirty work. Now they're here to clean up the evidence. Red's eyes widened. They're going to glass the whole site. Alex turned, voice calm. Evac plan. Too many pods, Lena said. We can't save them all. Rourke didn't blink. We save who we can. Then we give them something to remember us by. Back aboard the Revenant, she activated the full ship systems for the first time in years. Hull panels shifted. Hidden ports opened. And a low, eerie hum spread across space as the ship prepared to fire its gravitic disruptor array, a weapon banned by every civilized race. Argus asked one question. Shall I make it loud? Rourke nodded once. Let the galaxy hear it. The fleet outside barely had time to react. One moment, they were in position. The next, they were falling apart. Engines crushed, weapons vaporized, and hulls folded inward like paper in a storm. No kills, just surgical ruin. The survivors in the pods were safe. And far beyond the stars, someone watching from a hidden terminal clenched their fist. It's her, they muttered. She's not stopping. And no, she wasn't. They were supposed to be allies. Back aboard the Revenant, the survivors from Moon Theta 47 were stable, hooked into cryopods, and protected by the ship's bioshielded medbay. Lena was monitoring their vitals. Red was sifting through decrypted logs from the enemy fleet. Null was running silent diagnostics across every system in case they'd been tagged or tracked. And Alex Rourke, she was standing alone in the observation chamber, staring out at the frozen stars. Waiting. She didn't wait long. Permission to enter, said a voice she hadn't heard in 10 years. She turned slowly. Admiral Juno Sestel, Earth Fleet hero, decorated war commander, and one of the architects of the peace treaty that ended the last war. Rourke's voice was calm. How did you get on my ship? I authorized its construction, Sestel said, stepping forward. Did you really think I couldn't find a way back aboard? You're not supposed to exist anymore, she said flatly. And neither are you, he replied. But here we are. Behind him, 2 shadow-cloaked operatives entered the chamber. Not fleet, not official. They moved like ghosts. Black ops, off the record. Their weapons were visible, but not raised. You've gone rogue, Alex, Sestel said. We gave you that ship to prevent chaos, not to create it. Rourke didn't flinch. Preventing chaos by erasing people's minds, by engineering loyalty through science. That's not peace. That's programming. It's survival, he snapped. The Accord was never about fairness. It was about buying time. The galaxy fears humanity, and rightly so. They won't let us rise again. We needed to show them we could be controlled, that we could control ourselves. And who decided you were the one to do it? She asked quietly. Sestel hesitated. That was all she needed. Rourke stepped back into the command cradle. Argus, standing by. Run directive Blackglass. Warning lights lit up across the chamber. The operatives reached for their weapons, but stopped when the walls shifted. The Revenant responded like a living thing. Bulkheads sealed. Gravity twisted. The operatives collapsed under a surge of magnetic force. Sestel remained standing. Barely. You're not walking out of here, Rourke said. You built a weapon to enslave our future. I'm not going to let you bury it under more lies. You'll burn everything down, he growled. The Accord, the peace, the illusion of unity. We'll be at war again before the cycle ends. Then maybe the galaxy should stop trying to chain what it can't control. She raised her hand, and Argus activated a stasis field. Sestel froze mid-step, locked in time. Red's voice crackled in her earpiece. He's not the only one, Alex. The logs show multiple signatures. Entire branches of the old fleet are part of this. They're not hiding from aliens. They're hiding from us. Rourke stared into the stars. They should be. The galaxy had been quiet for too long. Not peaceful, just silent. A silence born from fear, from treaties signed in desperation, from a trillion voices told to forget what humanity once was. But silence has a cost. And now, that silence shattered. The Revenant soared through the edge of the Virex expanse, not hiding, not cloaked, broadcasting its location to every known surveillance grid in 3 sectors. Deliberate, daring, defiant. Red's voice buzzed over the comms. They're coming. Multiple fleets, human and alien. They want to make an example out of you. Rourke stood in the cradle, steady. Good. Time for the truth to be seen. Null handled the message broadcast. It went out in every major language, across pirate networks, corporate satellites, even alien news feeds. Lena's voice narrated over footage of the human experimentation sites, the memory-wiping nanites, the black ships built to police mines, not borders. The face of Admiral Cestal, frozen in stasis, was shown for exactly 3 seconds. Enough to ignite questions, enough to spark doubt. They wanted a future of silence, Rourke said in the message. We choose memory. We choose fire. Then the fleets arrived. 77 ships, 10 different banners, dozens of governments, all converging on one ship, one outlaw, one spark. Argus, she said calmly, bring it online. Deep inside the Revenant, the last forbidden system awakened. An energy signature not recorded in any known index surged through the hull. The gravitic array, pulse disruptors, neural jammers, all calibrated not to kill, but to remind. As the first volley of weapons came, the Revenant didn't fire back. It answered. One ship at a time, weapons disabled, engines cut, targeting systems fried. Every strike was precise. Every response screamed a message. This is what humanity made when it was still afraid. Now imagine what we can make when we're no longer hiding. Ships fell away. Commanders hesitated. A few tried to push forward, but their systems were already crumbling. Then something unexpected happened. Other ships stopped firing. A Martian mining freighter, painted in old Terran colors, turned its guns away. A Hylian support cruiser, alien but sympathetic, powered down its shields and began broadcasting Rourke's message. One by one, others followed. Not a surrender, a refusal to keep playing by the old rules. Back on Earth, the Council watched helplessly as their great secret unraveled. The lies, the black projects, the covert conditioning, all exposed. Rourke didn't ask for permission. She never had. But now, she had something better. Momentum. As the Revenant turned and vanished one final time, her voice echoed across every open channel. You can't control the future by erasing the past. You can only lose it. We are not ghosts. We are not myths. We are what comes next. And with that, humanity's ultimate warship disappeared beyond the edge of known space. Not into hiding. Into history.